This video, we're getting ready to pour our basement floor. This is a non-walkout lot with no overdig. So that means there's absolutely no fill, no overdig. So we can go with rebar every 42 inches or so. And that's what we have here. We got plastic down so the moisture does not go up through the concrete into your carpet. So the plastic helps keep the moisture content down. You'll notice that there's little stands holding the rebar up. In this case, those are chairs, they call them. And some people use them, some don't. Some like to pour the concrete, pull the rebar up as they go. I like using the chairs. When they use the chairs, they don't have to touch the rebar and the concrete goes underneath them. Works out real nice. You'll notice these green ISO rings, is what I call them. And they're round, and that's where your I-beam post will go. So in this particular home, there's 4 I-beam posts, which will come down here in the basement. Now, these ISO rings are designed to, if your floor heaves up and then they're supposed to break away and let your floor move up and the post won't move. And so that's what they're designed to do. Well, the problem, some people use them, some people don't use them. And let's just say you don't use them. If you don't use those and you pour your floor and your beams get set right on top of the floor, if the floor heaves up, then your first floor is going to heave up. So your first floor is going to move up. So they design these to where you can actually pour concrete in them. Then when your floor moves, that these are supposed to keep the column from moving. Well, what we found out, that doesn't work in all cases. The floor moves, but the ISO tube don't break, so the movement goes all the way up to the first floor. So what I do, which a lot of people do not do, I do not pour concrete in those ISO tubes. I do not pour them full. We set the beam post down on the pier pad, so then I have to come back and I have to fill them in. So what I'm saying is, if they pour them full or don't use them at all, if your floor heaves, your first floor is going to heave. The way I do it, I come back in, I set the post on the pier pad. You can see there's a mark right there, and that's the X where the post is going to go. I'm going to set my post on that. So if the floor heaves, your first floor is not going to move because it's sitting on this pier pad. So then I will come back later and fill these spots in with concrete and finish off your floor like normal. So it depends on where you're at. If you're going to get any heaving, the dirt's different all around town. It's really hard to say, but again, this is designed for if it does happen, it's not going to affect your first floor. And as you noticed over here in the corner, I'm going to lower down my sump pit. It is 1.5 inches, 2 inches lower with an emergency floor drain there. So if your sump pump goes out, the water's going to go into that floor drain and it's not going to flood your basement. And in this house, just like my other houses, if it is not a walkout, I put a drain pipe running all the way through, and it's a 4-inch drain pipe, and the water will collect to it, then go to the sump pit. On a non-walkout, I don't believe that's necessary, so I don't put one in. But on on a walkout, I don't put one in. On a non-walkout, we always run the drain tile through the middle, as I showed you on the last video. So these are a few things that I especially do that I know other builders don't do, the drain tile and filling these ISO tubes up. It's much easier for the concrete man to come in, fill them up. It's a lot easier on them, but I don't think they work properly that way. This way they work properly, and we'll have a better built house in the long run. Getting ready to pour the garage floor. Here's our rebar here. It's on 12-inch centers, and you notice it's on 12-inch. The basement was on 42. This up here is on fill. So on fill, they got to put it every 12, and there's a column in the middle, which is it goes all the way down to a pier pad, and that helps hold up the middle of the garage. In this case, they haven't put the chairs in; they got them laying there. They'll do that in the morning for when they get here. Biggest difference on this aspect is that I use epoxy there, and we epoxy the holes. Where the holes go in, the rebar goes into the wall, I shoot epoxy in there, and then we stick the rebar in there. A lot of people do not do that. Again, I just feel that it will help the rebar stick in the wall and not move. So that's pretty well what a garage is going to look like.